We're back for another episode of Average Sports with your average guys, Eric and Ty. We're getting right into it. Episode 211. I like it. We're about halfway through the season, halfway through the year. June is right upon us. The 6th month. How you doing, Eric?
Dude, I'm doing good. You know, the way you started that with, and now we're back, I really thought you were going to go into a song lyric and say that you're from outer space.
Well, I'm sorry to disappoint you, but...
You're not Aretha Franklin?
No.
I don't even think that's her. I don't know.
We got a good show coming up here for you.
Weird.
Put that one to bed. And we're going to also tell you what we're not talking about besides all things sports. We're not going to talk about that tennis butthole president of the French tennis league or whatever. Let people wear a little bit more flashy clothes. If you want, I don't know. It's ridiculous.
No one has any idea what you're talking about.
No, I think I only do. The French Open's going on right now, and Serena Williams can't wear what she wants. Come on, let it go. So we're moving past it. That's what I'm talking about. French Open. Look it up if you want to find out more about that drama. What is happening, though, Eric? The last time we were in an episode, we were only 3 games in, I think, in the Western Conference Finals of the NHL, and that has been settled. St. Louis, in 49 years, for the first time, going to the Stanley Cup Finals. How exciting. However, they dropped Game 1. So, still, at this time, they have not ever won a Stanley Cup game. Do you think they will at least win 2?
You know, watching that game last night, it was an interesting game. You know, they came out and they looked really well. They looked good. They played well. They were a cohesive unit kind of in that first period. And then in the second period on, even though they got that second goal, I mean, that was off of just a bad turnover from Boston. And, Vladimir Tarasenko was able to score and take it up 2-0. But from then on, it was complete domination by Boston. St. Louis looked undisciplined. They looked like they couldn't keep emotions in check. And, Boston is a team that if you go out there and you try and hit them, guess what? They're going to hit right back. They're not San Jose. San Jose is a team that you can go out and you can hit quite a bit, and the longevity of a series is going to break them down. That is not Boston. Boston's going to hit right back, and they're going to hit back hard. Mm-hmm. And quite frankly, Brad Marchand hasn't even started, doing his antics. So St. Louis has got to clean that up. Will they win 2? Yeah, I'm going to say they're going to win 2. I still think that St. Louis is going to be able to bounce back. Okay. They've been able to make adjustments all postseason. I
happen to agree. I think this has the makings of an easy Game 7 here for Stanley Cup Finals. I don't see why not. Both teams have had a pretty miraculous postseason, so it should be down to the wire, I feel like, on this one. What else is happening, though? We made some picks, Eric, a little while back. Mid-season, episode 5 of this season, and who we thought would go to the World Series right now. Just want to do a little check-in on MLB, which we will cover the standings here later in this episode. But right now, the Yankees looking pretty good. That was my pick to make it into the World Series. Not necessarily win, but get out there. And the other team to get in there was the Atlanta Braves, who are, second place in their division? So still looking pretty strong, hot out the gate. And I would just want to bring that up because it was Memorial Day weekend. That's basically what they say. Any analyst, right, talks about how an MLB team is kind of showing their true colors at this point.
Yeah, that's right. And just to clarify that, you make it sound like I had terrible picks. I had Houston.
You do.
And I also took the Dodgers, who are both in first place in their divisions.
Okay.
Both have fantastic win percentages. So both of them are exactly what. First of all, no one is going to upend Houston in that division. I'm sorry, it's not going to happen.
Probably not.
So yeah, we'll just leave it at that.
and not a whole lot of competition thus far out of the NL West. So we'll see. It is still a long season, but fair picks there with Houston and Dodgers. Yes. Not too long ago, also since the last time though we were recording an episode, Koepka winning big in that PGA Championship.
PGA Championship, yep. Congratulations to Brooks Koepka. he does really well in major championships. So, he doesn't seem to, from what I've seen or followed a little bit about him, he doesn't seem to do all that well in the non-majors, but he definitely is a big player when it comes to major tournaments for golf. So, he's already won a couple. So, keep your eyes on Brooks Koepka.
Yeah, and that purse
in the
was
future.
Over $10 million, 10, 12.
Insane.
That was crazy. What an awesome job. Anyway, we are going into our topic for this one in lieu of the halfway mark, basically. We're heading into that 6th month. We're just a couple of days before June. So the next time you hear from us, we will really be halfway through the year. And looking at reactions from 2019, we've had several championships going on from the Super Bowl, of course, and looking at NCAA championship. We've had tennis matches and, really running the gambit there. So kind of talk about best moments of 2019 or reactions or things that you kind of wish you saw or
we're almost halfway through, as you said, and there's been a lot of stuff that happens really early in 2019 that you can have a lot of fun with. Some stuff that happens in those early months that can make it exciting or can make it a disappointment. One of the things, I'm going to start with a disappointment. I was very disappointed in that Super Bowl. Yeah. That was one of the most boring football games, nationally, big offenses, and people expected a lot from this game, and it was boring. And, besides the Patriots winning, which, most people that listen to this, they know how I feel about them, but, it was just a boring game. It was nothing like I expected. So that was definitely a downer for me. UVA winning the NCAA championship.
No, that was pretty cool.
That was very cool. Very cool. So congratulations to the Wahoos, Virginia Cavaliers. They had a great tournament. A lot of people, I feel, including myself, did not pick them to go super far. I don't think people picked them to lose to a 16 seed again.
No,
like they did 2 years ago.
Even though weren't they losing?
They had a great tournament, played very well. And what's that?
Weren't they losing at the end of the first half?
Yeah, and the majority of a lot of their games, I think they were down. I don't know. I can't remember. I have to go back and look. Are you talking about that first game?
Yeah, that first game. Like where they.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Everyone thought history was going to repeat itself, but they really turned it around after that one. They made an excellent run. Obviously, a great one because they won the whole thing, and that was the first time in school history. So besides then Boston, though, going back to the World Series even of 2018, they won that championship, won the Super Bowl, and then are now vying for the Stanley Cup. Something's going on in that city that, boy, if you ask me, something needs to change. They win too much. How is that possible?
Boston sports since 2001.
2001.
The first Patriots Super Bowl. They have been winning a lot.
Yes.
Between the Patriots, the Celtics have a championship in there. The Bruins have a championship in there. The Red Sox have several. They've been winning a lot. Unfortunately, I'm a big fan of Boston sports teams, so it's unfortunate, but they have been very dominant. So
right,
that's really
well. At least the Celtics were in the playoffs and then got bounced by the second round. They didn't.
Yeah, they got second round by the Bucks. They got destroyed.
That's right. Yeah, which that was a pretty good game 6. You and I actually sat down and watched that one of the NBA playoffs, and congratulations to Toronto Raptors. First time ever they're going to the NBA Finals, so that's going to be pretty exciting.
Yeah, that is pretty exciting for them. They've been a team that is for several years had a top 3 record in the NBA Eastern Conference and have run into the LeBron James buzzsaw and have just been mowed down, or for whatever the issues were for them. And they picked up Kawhi Leonard in the offseason. Weren't even sure that he was going to play. Thought he may hold, quote unquote, hold out, kind of like he did in his last season in San Antonio. There's still a lot of, controversy, I guess, centered around that, but that's been a while now. So he really helped carry them and put them into the finals. And so congratulations to Toronto Raptors. And I'll certainly individually be cheering for them. I don't think they'll be able to pull it off, but I will be cheering for the Raptors.
Now, you prefaced another good point about something that's gone on in 2019, and it kind of is now a perennial issue with athletes coming into their next season. But 2019 is no different, with a couple of high-value free agents that just don't get signed, do not find a team. And we saw a couple of big names in baseball that haven't found a team.
Yeah, this has been 2 years in a row that baseball's had has started a concerning trend. It was two off seasons ago. A lot of big players signed late, including some like on opening day. For example, for the Cardinals, they went out and got Holland and signed him to a 1-year, $14 million deal, and that was a complete dumpster fire. The Cardinals essentially just put a dumpster with gasoline out there and lit it on fire. Yeah. And I think he's still with the Washington Nationals, who ended up picking him up off of waivers after the Cardinals cut him last year. But, it was one of those things, like he didn't get a spring training. He didn't get, any early, not really mini camp work, but he didn't get any early season work. He didn't get any preseason games. He got a couple minor league games and then was thrust up, and he just wasn't ready, and it shook him. And, the two big names that you mentioned that are still unsigned are Craig Kimbrell, who was the closer for the Boston Red Sox last year, and Dallas Keuchel, starting pitcher for the Houston Astros. Both players are 31 and are, still in their prime. Are they going to be getting, 7, 8, 9-year contracts? No, they're pitchers. That's not going to happen. They'll be lucky to get, 4 or 5 years, to be quite honest.
Wasn't Keuchel asking for quite a bit?
Kimbrell was. Kimbrell was asking for 6 years, 120 as a closer, which is absurd to me.
Oh, but still. So they're kind of doing it to themselves.
But still to an extent, like 6 years. 6 years is more the problem, not necessarily the money, to be honest.
And you should be able to negotiate
6 years
down.
Is the problem for me.
Right.
You want to pay him 120 over 4, that'd be expensive, but I'd be more okay with that than 6, to be quite honest. Just with pitchers and the way that they break down, 6 years is a long time for that. But it's crazy that they didn't get that much interest, or that they didn't have the interest to be like, okay, like we saw what happened last year to these pitchers, or even Holland is the example that we're using, that this is not good. And baseball teams have been waiting, and they really waited last year for players to start signing. It wasn't until the end that, people started signing, getting picked up, and same kind of thing happened this year too. And, unless they were re-signing with someone, or re-signing with their current team, people, are sitting on the free agency market a very long time. And it's a little bit of a concerning trend that the players union is really going to have to get involved and do something about, to try and make it effective, where that's not going to be the thing that we continue to see.
I don't know so much if concerning is the way I would put it, because I at least like that there's this now pseudo cap, that there is such a thing as asking for too much as a professional athlete. There is too much money that you could be asking for, and I think that's maybe an overall healthy thing for much pro sports.
I mean, that's not a bad point. The only counter argument I would say there is baseball players, based on the revenue that they bring in the least amount of any of the major professional sports.
Okay, well, that's food for thought too right there, Eric. How about who you got? Who you got, Eric, on the NBA Finals or the NHL Cup? That's what we're down to. It is, after all, June, so champions are going to be made in this month. And we got some big-time matchups between Golden State Warriors and Toronto Raptors. And then you have the Boston Bruins against the St. Louis Blues. What kind of excites you a little bit more? Gets you going.
Which would I rather watch? I'm more of a hockey fan than I am an NBA fan. So I very much prefer watching the NHL playoffs, especially start to finish. We've actually talked about that on several episodes. It's substantially more exciting. However, now the NBA Finals, this is where it does get exciting. As far as picking one of the two, I'm definitely going to take the NHL Stanley Cup. As far as winners, I'm not sure if even that's what we're going for here, but I unfortunately will take the Golden State Warriors in 6, and I'm unfortunately going to take the Boston Bruins in 7.
Okay. Yeah,
Who you got?
I'm okay with that. You know who I got?